Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsy69 and welcome back to channel. AMX 50B versus the T57 Heavy. Now we're going to compare the stats of these two tier 10 autoloaders. Now the 50B has just shy DPM of the T57 Heavy. The penetration is almost the same. The rate of fire is very, very similar, and the reload is very, very similar. Now the difference between these two, and it is a big difference, the T57 Heavy has a better intra-clip. It only has a 2.5 second between each shell. However, the 50B is much more quicker. It goes 50 kilometers an hour compared to the 35 from the T57 Heavy, but the T57 Heavy has better armor. Well, the turret on the front of the 50B is better than the T57, but the T57 around and the rest of it, it is better in armor. So I've held off making these. I mean, so many people have asked me to make a versus compare video between these two tanks. Now, I see these two tanks as complete different tanks. I like both of them equally. I don't really like one better than the other because they're two different tanks. Even though they're the same kind of tank, they are played completely different. Now, the T57 Heavy, I play as a heavy, and the 50B, I kind of play as a medium because it has a medium speed, and supporting your mediums with an autoloader that does 400 alpha is pretty good when you have the free shells. So you can do 1200 damage to these medium tanks really quickly. So I play them completely different. I play them one as a heavy and one as a medium. However, the 50B has much worse armor. I mean, sides, the rear, okay, the front of the turret is better, but because I play it as a medium, if I played it as a heavy, you would get penned quite a lot. Whereas the 57, you can play it as a heavy. You can go hold down because it does have a pretty strong turret, and up against the mediums, it also has a pretty strong hull as well. So it's not, you can't really rely on the bounces on either tank, but they are bounces that you can quite easily get. So they do play, if you play them, I mean, the DPM is very similar. The reload, the penetration, they are all very similar. But for me, I do probably prefer playing that T57 Heavy, but just because of the intra-clip reload. In Wargaming buffed it. It used to be 3 seconds, and Wargaming buffed it. I don't know why they buffed it, but they took the reload down to 2.5 seconds, which does make all the difference. That 0.5 seconds does make all the difference. So in 5 seconds, you can dish out 1200 damage, and sometimes more, because it is an autoloader and you can get that high roll every sort of 3 shells, or the 4th shell. You do get it quite often, and it makes you pump out that intricate. I mean, look at that 484 roll, and that wasn't a high roll, so he just dished out 13 to 1400 damage in one magazine, which is pretty good. The 50B has better gun depression than the T57 Heavy, which again, because it has that stronger front turret, using that gun depression can be pretty good. So they are very similar in terms of stats, but honestly, on the battlefield, I think they are played completely different, or they can be played completely different. It's a lot harder to use the T57 as a medium role than you can the AMX 50B, because just the speed. I mean, 35 kilometers an hour this tank goes compared to 50 of the 50B, and I mean 50 kilometers an hour for a heavy. That's, I mean, 50. That's good for a medium, let alone a heavy. So that's why I play them completely different. I play them completely different, and I use the 50B more as a medium because it does have that speed. I mean, pretty good, 3000 DPM is pretty good DPM for a heavy, and an autoloader heavy as well. So they are both fantastic tanks. They are both fantastic tanks, and obviously with both of them, one's French, one's American, so you do have to be very careful for tanks coming behind you on both tanks. However, the 50B, you do have to be more careful because you don't have that side armor at all. It's a French tank, you've got no side armor. So these tanks like Sheridans, Death Stars, anything like that, they can completely rip you apart with the HE. So 425 roll there. We are watching Beppis, and he's going to be very, very unfortunate. There is a Sheridan. There's only 3 tanks left, and they are all 3 heavies. So the heavies are going to start capping the base, as you can see, which is probably the right move. It is probably the right move, even though there's 3 tanks left alive, and they could all split up. But, I mean, one of them's a 57, which isn't the quickest tanks. One of them's a Moistion, and one of them's a Mouse. So they're not the quickest of tanks to go searching for one of the quickest tanks in Tier 10. So they are going to go and start capping. But unfortunately for Beppis, he's on 7,200 damage. Now, he is firing heat. I didn't quite see if he'd run out of AP or not. But 7,200 damage, and he's going to want to get this, he's going to want to get this kill. He's going to want to get the kill. He's going to want to get the damage as quick as possible. There is still 1 minute 45 seconds, and this is where the enemy, his team, sorry, only just start capping, which they went through the cap a little while ago, and they should have just carried on capping, because now if the Sheridan fires a HE shot into that cap, they will no longer have time for the cap, and the Sheridan can actually make this a draw easily. Easily a draw. So Beppis is going to want to get as much damage as he possibly can in the meantime. Now that's 30 supremacy points now. You can see where the Sheridan is heading towards, and he has no choice. It's either head towards the cap or you're going to lose anyway. So Beppis is going to try and stop him in his tracks and try to get the damage. Now he is firing heat, so he does have to be careful of the spaced armor on this thing because it is so freaking troll. But there's now only 1 minute left on the clock. If I was that Sheridan, I would have just YOLO'd completely into cap, fired a HE shot, and then gone, because there's no chance of him winning. He can only try and play out for a draw here. So there's one shot from Beppis. Unfortunately, just can't quite get the next shot. All he needs is one more shot. He just needs one more shot to get above that 8,000 damage. But with 25 seconds left on the clock, 90 cap points, there's just going to be no chance. And I do feel so sorry for him. Unfortunately, he can't get any more damage. But well played. 7,600 damage is still a fantastic result. And he gets the well-deserved ace. So that is the T57. Now, he played it like a heavy. He played it the heavy route. He couldn't really chase the Sheridan there. Whereas the 50B may have actually been able to chase the Sheridan and to pick up some more damage. So now we're going to watch a battle from Every Good Name Is Taken, a great friend of mine. Go check his channel out. He's a great YouTuber. So he's playing the 50B. And he's, at the moment, if you look at the minimap, look at the minimap, the team are completely split apart. He's here with the Foch, and there is a TD sort of still in spawn, but everyone else has gone the medium side. So I think he's going to just rethink his decision. The IS-4, there's a 268, his Foch is getting ripped apart. So he made that, he made the choice quite early on to, you know what, there is not a good place to be. So I'm going to go back with my team and hopefully I can get some side shots. And because of the speed, he can get there pretty quickly, and he has. And now all of a sudden, he's come behind the T62A. A lovely HE round into him there. There's the second. He doesn't need the third HE. He can just switch to the AP and he can clear him for his first kill. Now, just look at that. I mean, he's already got a kill. 30 seconds ago, he was the other side of the map, and he was able to relocate very quickly, very early on, and pick up a kill and take out the T62, which is one of the most OP tanks in Tier 10 at the moment. And now he's going to get some side shots into the Sheridan. Now, the Sheridan can't really move. He's in an awful situation, because if he backs up, then Every Good Name Is Taken is going to get that shot, and if he backs up the other way, then the mediums are going to get the shot. But he's lucky there, and he is left on only one 1 HP, and now he's going to try and run away. So 1 HP, he's still alive, so he can still be a danger. I mean, it's a Sheridan. It's a Sheridan. No matter how many hit points it's got, if it's alive, it can still be a danger. But they no longer have to worry about him. Now, he does get lucky with this Object 263 that he doesn't want to know him at all. So he is able to get the 3 shells into him, gets a nice couple of bounces, which I said about the turret. The front of the turret is pretty strong, and he bounces quite, I mean, 810 damage there. So his team are dying. It is a 4 versus 5, and now a 3 versus 5. The 263 is a one-shot, and that's a fantastic tank, so that's a good tank to get rid of, but he doesn't need to waste a shell. The Pajero is going to take him out, and now he has 3 shells. He can rush this Pajero, and he should be able to easily, unless he bounces, he should be able to easily take him out, and he does. So now he has to use that speed to try and go in for the ram. Leaves him on 10 HP, but he does manage to finally get that ram. So 3 versus 3 now. He's on 4.2k damage, but there's still some big guns to clear. And as I've said, the side of this armor, the side of the tank isn't the best of armors. So he does have to be very careful, because if he comes out sideways in front of this Object 268 or this Jagdpanzer, he can literally lose all of his hit points. So he went for the first shot. He does have to be careful. He just manages to get away, and he's now on 4.6k damage. Even though he's still got half of his hit points left, as I've said, because of the armor on this thing, if he gets a HE shell from any one of the 2 TDs, he's dead. He's pretty much dead. So you can't look at the HP and say, oh, I've got enough HP, I can take a shot, because you really, really can't. So he's now going to go and try and go for that JG. He's going to get the track shot, nice track shot. The JG is going to turn, but he does manage to get a nice roll and clear him. And that's what I mean with the auto loaders. I love auto loaders, like when you can do things like that, where you can clear 2 big tanks just with 1 magazine. So just the IS-4 now to deal with. But again, just like autoloaders, any autoloader, doesn't matter what autoloader, when you are on that magazine reload, you do have to have hard cover. There's no point taking any shots when you don't need to. And sometimes it's frustrating because you can have 3 shots, but you're on a big 18-second, 19-second reload. But as you can see now, I mean, the IS-4 is trying to go for the medium tank, so he's able to reload without getting any shots taken. And by this time, he can just shoot all 3 shells. There's 1. There's 2. Is he going to take the last one, or is the medium going to get it? Hopefully he's got 1 shell left, and he is going to take him out. So well played. 1200 block damage, and he ends on 7400 damage. So that's the both tanks. I like both of them equally, but if I did have to pick one to play, it would be the T57 Heavy, just because of that 2.5 second intro clip. Hope you enjoyed it, guys. I'm Meadsy, and I'll catch you soon. With